New year, new you, Woodis. Hello, welcome here today. I'm so excited to talk about books. There is nothing I love more. Well, there's quite a few things that I like in this life, but I really do believe that books are just so precious. And even in the world that we're living today with screens and e-readers and nothing like that, there for me, nothing just hits as much as a physical book. I like to have a physical book in my hand and holding it, and I know I'm not the only one. Because although I do see those book clubs on the internet. So today I wanted to talk about great books I really think you should consider reading this year, and I think they will totally elevate your life, your consciousness, and improve your life for the better. Let's get started. First, I wanted to start with a light reads because sometimes we like to read intense stuff and then feel our brain and mind and intelligence expand, but other times we just want something that's really light to read. So I thought it was really good to start like that with the light stuff first. The same way that people watch trash TV. I'm not gonna name any name, but we all know which one. The first thing that popped into my head was a show that's been running for a very, 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 very long time. A reality TV shows. So I'm not gonna name any names. People do their things, and our words matter. So we need to be careful that we're not, spreading negativity out there. First book I wanted to bring up is I like this book. It's a very simple book. It's called Keep Going. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube on video, you can see me wearing my beautiful flowery dress and holding all these beautiful books. But if you're listening on the podcast, it's fine. I'm just going to describe the books to you. So that way you can still have the title and the author. So the first book in my easy read section, those days when you just want to like something to cheer you up, I like this book. It's called Keep Going 10 Ways to Stay Creative in Good Times and Bad by Austin Kleon. I hope that's how you pronounce his last name. Honestly, this book is really I don't even know if I can call this a book. It's so easy to read. It's just, of course, my books are such private things because I take a lot of notes in my book. That's why I'm not gonna show it. I take a lot of notes in my books, and it's so personal. And I'm literally having big arguments with the author. And then this is why it would be really hard for me to lend my book to people because my books are pretty much my diaries. It's highly private and personal and super intimate. So this book, it's written in a listicle format, which I thought was, we're doing this now. But somehow I still like having it around. It's like a really like pocket size thing. For example, let me give you an example. Keep going. 10 ways to stay creative. It start with 1, every day is Groundhog Day. 2, build a bliss station. 3, forget the noun, do the verb. 4, make gifts. The ordinary plus extra attention equals the extraordinary. Slay the art monsters. You are allowed to change your mind. I like that one. When in doubt, tidy up. I also like that one too. That one really, really works whenever you're really feeling like really low. I find that moving your body really helps you get out of that zone. And the demons hate fresh air. We all know that. It's so hard when you're having those terrible days. We all have them. It's part of the human condition. And then to just sometimes to get yourself outside to just go for a walk can be like really challenging. But sometimes it's just like having the momentum rolling. And plant your garden. So I really like this book. If you're looking for an easy read, totally recommend that. Um, and the light thing, I'm inserting this for like if any fellow dance lovers out there. I really like this book. I love this book. So check it out if you're into dancing, movement. It's called The Dance Cure. The Surprising Secret to Being Smarter, Stronger, and Happier by Dr. Peter Lovat. And this book is so I didn't expect this book could be so good. Seriously. Let's read a bit of the oh gosh, how to say that? It's not a synopsis, a summary. So, humans are born to dance, and in today's sedentary world, we would all benefit from doing more of it. Science shows that just 10 minutes of dancing provides a thorough workout for the body and brain, raising the heartbeat to cause a release of feel good endorphins, connecting us to our emotions and reducing our stress levels. Dancing, quite simply, makes us feel more alive. And I love this book. If you're into dancing, honestly, whether you're like a professional dancer or you dance casually, check this out. The facts in the book. And I like the way Dr. Lovat writes. He's such a funny author. And it's interesting because he talks about his life where he had I forgot which one it was, but he had like learning disabilities, and it's very hard for him to remember choreographies and stuff like that. And how as a man he was the only one in school that was attending the dance recitals, and he used to get bullied in school for that. But then those same dance recital he's just stuck through, and then Dave changed his life because he went on and just became like you know a doctor, and then did so many researches around dancing and mobility and happiness and all of these stuff, and being a leader in his field. And today he's just trying to work against the stigma and let us all know how powerful dancing is. I love this book. I totally love this book. Now, um, I talk a lot about past lives in this podcast. We talk a lot about soul contracts and stuff like that. Even when I do my astrology, my birth chart readings with my clients, I put a lot of emphasis on the soul, your soul purpose in this life, in this lifetime. We talk about, all of these juicy topics. And that's why I thought it would, honestly, I could make this video so long because I have so many books. It's not even funny. I'm not even going to show you behind the camera because when I went to look for those books, I made a whole mess going through everything, and I have a lot of books. And all this to say that I could make many, many series of this sort of episode. I just thought it was really fun to just do something like a little bit more personal based on like, I don't know, to like spice things up a little bit. So let me know if you like this book series. This reminds me a bit of old school YouTube, the YouTube I grew up watching when I was much younger, how they used to do those type of videos quite a lot, and that was my inspiration for today. So because I talk about soul so much everywhere, I thought it was really good to include something that's related to that, because a lot of people often ask me about reincarnation and things like that, and they're curious, but it can be scary if you don't know where to start. So that's why I included this book, Many Lives, Many Masters. It's a classic book, the true story of a permanent psychiatrist, his young patient, and the past life therapy that changed both their lives, by Brian Weiss. This guy is so popular. He's so famous. It's like, Now, this book is really interesting because the way he writes the book, it's not in this. It's more of a, he takes you on the case studies with him. So you see case 29, and then he would share his notes. He would share how the past life regression session went, how what he learned from the other life. And I think it's important for us to learn these things because so many people are scared of death. Oh gosh, Stephanie, why are you just switching gear really fast? But I don't know. To me, these are all like normal things to talk about. And I feel like the more you get yourself accustomed to these things, like past life stuff, your soul, and see yourself as a soul having a human experience and not a human with a soul, because that's the problem. That's all most of us were raised. Even if you come from religious background, by the way, there's a big difference between religion and spirituality. For example, I grew up with, as a Catholic background, and it's crazy. They would throw like the soul once. It's like throwing a bone here and there, but it was not the focus. But I feel like nowadays it's very important to kind of like do a whole like rehaul of everything, reframe everything, because life gets a bit, I don't want to say easier, but it starts making sense more when she starts approaching things as you are a soul who came into this life to have a human experience. So you're wearing a flesh suit that comes with holes like eyes, nose, mouth, and different cavities. And then you start seeing life it becomes a bit more magical. It's just like, whoa, you know? So I know this might sound crazy. If it's the first time you're hearing that, you might think, what the hell is she smoking? I'll have some. I'm very aware of that. So again, you don't have to believe me. Okay, do your own, but I'm here to encourage you to keep an open mind, you know. Um Obviously, when I first started diving into these deep studies, didn't take me, it wasn't overnight. It took me like a long time to start getting used to that, because like I said, because of my past, because of my childhood upbringing, we don't talk, if you grew up as a Catholic, I'd say most of the three, I'd say especially if you grow up as a Catholic or even Muslim, because I talk about a lot with my Muslim friends, they don't, there's no, because again, all of these, these religions are Abrahamic sources, right? They're all Abrahamic religion with the same source. So everyone's fighting, but it's like, it's funny. We're not gonna get into politics, but it's pretty much the same source, right? And the reality is that there's not an emphasis on your soul, right? The emphasis is really based on your human experience and how we're humans. And I find that that creates a lot of division, and also that creates a lot of despair. And that's why we're so scared of death, compared to when we're looking at other cultures, for example, like in Hinduism and things like that, where they have reincarnation as part of, Buddhism and all of these like Far East mindset and wisdoms. They I find that they understand that, okay, this is just, I'm here, I reincarnated into this lifetime. All right, what's my assignment for this life? You know what I mean? So anyways, I digress. Oh my goodness, we're just talking about books, we're not talking about philosophy today. But I just wanted to say that if you find the topic a little bit like, if it's something that you find yourself compelled towards, and it's raising your, how can I say that? It's making you really curious. Give this one a try. Many Lives, Many Masters. I must say a disclaimer. I used to read this book a lot in my early, I'd say early days. I'm still a student. This never ends. But nowadays, I find myself reading less and less of the sort of mainstream books, just because since I started studying right now, it's just for sake of transparency. Right now, I'm really deep into, like, I'm a Kabbalah student. And what is Kabbalah? It's not a religion. It's literally spirituality, and I really do believe it's pretty much the root source, the seed level of a lot of the esoteric teachings that we are seeing, a lot of the different spirituality that we are seeing today, which is really nothing wrong with that, because they even tell us that the light gives us, creativity, so we can kind of like come up with different versions. It's like a teacher who's excited to see what his students are going to come up with, and everyone, no one is wrong, but everyone is just starts from the same source, and then everyone creates their own version, and it's all beautiful. So I'm not like bashing anything, but I'm just saying that, fun fact, the Many Lives and Many Masters was actually a student. He studied Kabbalah, and it's actually in the same Kabbalah center. One of my teacher, long, 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 long time teachers, said that last time, and I thought it was really beautiful how, again, so many of those big, philosophers and thinkers, they went to the source, and like to like one of the seed level, because one thing that happened is when you start going down esoteric and so many spirituality, is that my experience is that I kept looking for, where is this coming from? Where is the foundation? What is the source? Because it's like, how do these people know all these things? Because then again, I'm not someone that follows guru. I like to know, I like to go down to the baseline foundation instead of worshiping one person as like an all knowing guru. That's just not me. Some people are like that. Again, I'm not here to judge, but I'm just saying, as I started, seeking and seeking and seeking, that's actually how I found Kabbalah. And it's actually interesting how so many of these people actually are a Kabbalah student. Another fun fact, by the way, that I've learned from my teacher, because the teacher has been teaching Kabbalah at the center um, for so many years, for like 30 plus years. So they know a lot of things, a lot of juicy nuggets. And I'm a curious person, so I want to know. So one thing that I thought was funny that one of my teachers, Yael Yodeni, said was that, like the Matrix, the movie The Matrix, that was actually like one of the biggest movies ever made. the one of this, I mean, the creator, the author, the film writer, the creator, the person who, came up with the script was also another Kabbalah student. Again, I thought it was like interesting, and all of these things made, and that person, that student, was studying at the center. I thought it was amazing, and I get so excited. Anyways, I digress. Why am I talking about all these things? Just to say that if you're looking for an entry level, thing, and just like you're really curious, you want more of a mainstream book, totally check that out if you're curious about past lives and reincarnation, because that is such a juicy topic, and I'm so obsessed with past life and reincarnation. Now, this book is the only book. Moving on to my next book, the other book I recommend is we're stepping back a little bit into like more like mainstream books. This book I recommend, it's I feel like this book is really helpful book. It's easy to read, and also um anyone who's in a really dark space in their lives, I think I'll always have this book on my shelf. It's sad that I don't know what to do, honestly. Anyone has any idea, because my books are so, like I said before, because I write so many notes in them, and then I like the idea of having them all on my shelf, and when people come over, they borrow books, but then again, it's like, you infringing my privacy here. So I don't know. It's like I really don't know what to do about that. But anyways, if you are you do you also do that? Do you also take notes in your books, and then they become like such a private thing, and then you can't even share them with anyone else? Let me know in the comments, or leave like a podcast review. I want to know. I like to also start reading back the comments I get from you, and make this a bit more interactive. That would be so much more fun. So, and this book is called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna. This book is really good. Um, I think this book is great for like an introduction level. I actually bought a spare copy and gifted it to a teenager, a late teen, 18, 19 girl that I have in my circle, and I thought that was such a good, easy guidance, easy read, and it's in line with a lot of the spirituality that I'm into today. It's just this book can really, really help people make sense of the hard times and hold in there if you're really in a dark place and you're not quite ready to dive into something intense. I mean, something a bit more. If you find it yourself intimidated by something like Kabbalah, which by the way, you don't have to if you're interested, because there's so many courses that, it breaks things down for you. But if you wanted to start with something like a bit more casual and mainstream, totally recommend this book. And the next book in line, while we're still talking about this type of self-help book, I like the Ikigai. I don't think the Ikigai needs any introduction because this book has been around forever. Look at how pretty this book is. It's the prettiest book ever. And I'm such a sucker for aesthetics, colors, beauty. Like, can we take a second to admire this for like look at this. It's so pretty. Um these are the type of books I would have on my coffee table because hello, it's pretty, it's blue, and it has the Japanese blossoms, on it, and the cherry blossoms, and it's just I love this book. Just looking at the cover makes me happy. Anyone who tells me that colors, you know, don't carry light energy, it's just like you totally lying to yourself. And yeah, this book is great. I like this book. I think it's such a wise book. Again, it's just such wisdom, more in the mainstream thing, but an easy read for anyone that's interested. And I totally recommend that. There's not a lot of self-help book in the mainstream that I recommend, because a lot of them just tend to be like, oh, just oh, like you reaching here. But like I have a handful of books that to me are classics, and the Ikigai, I think they did such a great job. For anyone who's ever seen this book before, it's called Ikigai: The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Hector Garcia and Francesc Miralles. This book is so good. I think what I enjoyed in this book so much is hearing the different stories about different, like older Japanese, um, you know, uh, grandmas and grandpas and how they live their lives and how they go on through their daily days with their little routine and how they. I like how this book shows you how the concept of retirement is makes no sense, because once you start retiring, that's when you kind of lose everything. You know what I mean? How we need to keep going with something that we love, and how much important that is to stimulate the mind, and the importance of community. Oh my goodness, I could go on and on about that book forever. I love this book so much. Now, moving on, the next book that we're going to talk about is Dopamine. This book changed my life. I think this book is the book that triggered, it's the book that made me easily stop using Instagram. I mean, like, uh, okay, to for like context, back then I've always been like a little bit reluctant to read those type of things. Even as a teen, I was the last one to get on Facebook, and then I was the first one to leave. So it wasn't really a surprise, when I same with Instagram. I was one of the last one to get on there. Um, and then again, I quickly exited. So when I started using Instagram, I it was mostly, I think I probably used it for like 2 years, 2 years and a half, and yeah, and a year of that was, I thought, okay, you know what, we're gonna try to do with the whole Instagram to help grow my business and see how it goes. And that's when I went full on in, doing like 1,000 reels a day and just going full in. And I'm so grateful that there wasn't any return, because that really allowed me to step back. Because when I was committing to that, I already told myself I'm going to give this a year and then see how this goes. And if that doesn't go anywhere, forget it. I'm just going to go back to, my usual self. I don't like this sort of, I find that a bit creepy. And it's not, I like the concept of Instagram, to be honest with you. Just like, I like the artistic side of it. I like creating videos and putting them together. What I didn't like about it, it's mostly the platform. It's how those media companies are constantly playing with our attention, and just, this is what I don't like, and how we're constantly being fed ads every 5 seconds. So I like to really say that, because I don't want you to think, oh my God, I think I'm better than everyone, I'm not on Instagram. No, absolutely not. You know, yeah, I'm not on Instagram, but then again, I'm always on my phone. Like, it's not like, it's more like we're living in the world where pick your poison, right? Because I'm on my phone all the time, and that's something I'm really like starting to put boundaries on nowadays, because I'm on my phone, because I'm working on my phone all the time, and I don't like that I'm staring at the screen all the time. So all this to say that I'm not better than anybody. We all have our poisons, and it's just part of the modern day life that we're living today. But this book literally is the one that made me shut it all down. This book I recommend it so much. I think everyone should read this book. Even if it doesn't make you leave Instagram or social media, it will wake you up and make you sit down with yourself and understand the impacts of, being a responsible consumer, and as a result, helping you create a balance, you know. The book is called Dopamine: Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence. Dopamine Nation. That's the book. That's the name of the book. It's a New York Times bestseller, but aren't they always? And the author is Dr. Anna Lemke. I think this book, I couldn't put this book down. Again, so many notes, so many, like, I poured my heart into this book with my notes and highlighting the book. I 1000% recommend this book. It's a life changer. And now that I have three more books left, and these books are, I'd say these are like deep spirituality. They're written in a very easy way, but these books, I wanted to include them. They're more like advanced level. Anyone here keep hearing me talking about Kabbalah, or like is interested into spirituality and is really curious and would like to have an easy way to, like, understand a bit better. Now, these are not, you don't have to worry. They're not, these are not, how can I say that? What's the word I'm looking for? They're not academic books where, oh my God, you're gonna be sitting down reading and bored out of your mind. They're written in like casual language, and very, 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 very fun read. The first one is called Wills of a Soul. This book is legendary because it seems to be the book that people stumble upon in the most random ways, and then they read the book, and then that book seems to be the book that draws people to Kabbalah. I don't know, there's something about this book. This book has is magical that way, because the amount of time I hear people say, oh yeah, I'm a Kabbalah student because it all started because I read the Wheels of a Soul when I was 16. It's and yeah, this book has been around for like a long time. So I recommend reading this book. It's Wheels of a Soul by Rav Berg, and it's Wheels of a Soul, Reincarnation and Kabbalah. And this book is so juicy. We talk about, just to give you an idea, the table of contents: religion and chapter one, religion and science, the new age of reality, the dilemma of unexplained events, reincarnation and human suffering, reincarnation in the Bible, incarnation at lower levels, the math connection. We also talk about, the book also talk about the body and internal function, power of the mind, and then there's a very juicy topic on soulmates, reincarnation and evil, recalling past lives, breaking the code, the purpose of reincarnation, free will, structure of the soul, reincarnation and marriage, discovering your soulmate, clues of soulmate marriage, cosmic soulmate, a lot of soulmate stuff. People don't understand that soulmate is such an, it's not random. It's an energetic thing, and it's all. This is what I like about Kabbalah. It's not a religion. It's literally spirituality. And I think people don't understand what the word spirituality means. Spirituality literally means, I'm not talking in terms of religion here. It means, I didn't pull out the definition from the dictionary, but generally it's the rules that you can't see. It's the unseen rules that govern this world, but that affects all of us. That's pretty much what's behind spirituality. And that's what I like about Kabbalah so much, because I feel like nothing in the spirituality world, there's a lot of fads, there's a lot of, trends, but nothing really fully explains everything like that. Whereas the reason why I'm so crazy with Kabbalah, it explains everything. It explains the rules around money, around manifestation. It explains the rules around, soulmates, how to make your relationship work. It explains everything. It explains things about evil eye, which always tends to be that mystical thing that most people believe in it to some extent, but no one wants to talk about it because it's too woo woo. It explains, like Kabbalah also talks about past lives. Now I'm reading like two huge books just on past lives, understanding the rules, how the soul works, you know why you're so reincarnated, why your soul choosing your parents, or your soul choosing, like, everything. It explains everything. And yeah, so this is pretty much why this book, I just wanted to give you an idea if you really were interested in the topic, and definitely check out that book. The next book I want to talk about is more advanced. This is probably where I'm going to lose you, but I feel compelled to include this book here in this series because I feel like someone might relate to that book. It's called The Spiritual Rules of Engagement. Now, this book was so hard to find. It's not an easy book to find because it's really old and they don't print them anymore. And it's just, this book came out in 2008. Sadly, they just don't print them that much. So you can still find it, but this book absolutely changed my life. This book, if you are someone who consider yourself like spiritual and you dating, but spiritually dating, and you're not really someone who's interested too much in the one night stand culture. Like, I'm not bashing anyone or anything, right? I'm just talking about, because I feel like people don't talk about this enough. But if you're not really into hookup culture, you're really looking for your soulmate, or you're looking for like your like your person to have a real stable relationship with, because what no one is talking about, everyone is we love to make situationship super casual, but something isn't working because everyone I know is complaining about them. And in the situationship, it always feels like one person is hoping to be in a proper relationship with the other person. And it's the same thing with also one night stands. I always feel like it we're lying to ourselves that it's working, because so many, especially women, like I'd say the vast majority of women end up feeling like used or eventually they get tired of it. So this is why in the podcast I want to talk about real topics. I'm not here to like, you know, I'm not here to just I'm not scared to talk about those topics because I know they might offend some people. I know some people might take it wrong because that's the world we're living in. You can't say anything without offending someone else. Doesn't matter how, neutral you say it, how, kind you say it, but someone's always going to be offended. But the purpose behind the work here, I wanted to talk about these real life things, those real life issues that I see that we're having right now, and also that I'm going through because, hello, I'm also part of this. So the reason why I like the spiritual rules of engagement because it talks about this a lot of the struggle that we're having right now. For example, it talks about well, this is a book more like geared towards women. So if I have any spiritual women out there looking for like, to find a very serious relationship, to get married and then to, this book totally recommend it. On the Amazon reviews, so many people that are not even into spirituality were saying, oh my God, they wish they read that book when they were like 19, and every women should read this book. For example, like some topic idea or finding Mr. Right, and then it really explains to you the energetic of relationship, right? For example, how like men are channels for the light and women are vessels for the light. And then I like that rule number 2: a man cannot be the source of a woman's happiness, but the woman must defend her light and never give it away freely. And I like that next juicy part: never believe what a man says. Now, this is not a man hating book, okay? The author is a man. This is not a man hating book. It's literally just explaining to you how things work and to help you avoid making so many mistakes that us women can do because we like to believe things so much. Even if the actions don't add up, we can really learn ourselves, and we can really just hijack our own mind to believe things that aren't there for real. And yeah, I really like attraction is based on karma. This is interesting. And fear of rejection is an illusion. And the 4 phases. This book is so good. I read it once. Again, so many personal notes on that. And this is a book that I'm putting on my shelf to read. I could easily read that book once a month, honestly. And now the last book, If I Haven't Lost You Yet. These books are books that can literally change your life. The last books I've mentioned, Dopamine Nation, Wheels of a Soul, Spiritual Rules of Engagement, are not books you're going to hear random people like recommend you to read, I swear. But these books, if you have the gut to go through them and then you keep an open mind, these books will forever change your mind. At the same time, I realize this is probably also an episode where people can be like, oh my God, this girl is totally crazy. I'm out of here. Again, there is, we all have our journey. I'm not judging anyone. If these books seems too much for you, there's no right or wrong here. We all have our journey, right? But I really feel compelled to share more of these things on the podcast. And the last book is a very advanced book. I'm not gonna talk about it too much. This book was such a beautiful read. I didn't want it to end. I'm not gonna talk about this too much because I feel like I should talk about more episodes before I introduce that. But in this book is called. It's also another Kabbalah book. It's called Satan, an autobiography. Now, if you're someone who grew up as a Catholic like me, you might feel like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack right now, God forbid. Like, whoa, I can't read this book. I'm totally aware. It's very aggressive looking. This book is the funniest book ever. And it's, again, keeping an open mind. And it's the concept of Satan here is literally that inner voice that you have that is always trying to criticize you, hijack you, minimize you. It's always trying to, like, every time you're trying to do something positive, you're trying to build that business, that voice that's telling you, oh, you can do this, who you think you are. That voice that's telling you, oh, you too fat when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. That voice that's telling you you're never going to find a relationship because you're not lovable. No one loves you. Who do you think you are? You know, you too big, you too tall, too short, you too skinny, too fat, you too aggressive, you're not feminine enough, you too feminine, you too masculine. All of these things, it's literally the concept of that's what in Kabbalah they call like the Satan. It's not you, it's that. And even in psychology, they, even Carl Jung and all of these great psychologists and psychotherapists and psychiatrists, all of these great names, they also agree that I'm gonna do more episodes on that later, but they also agree that we have different part of selves. There's the ego, there's the juice, there's different part of selves. So it's not that much of a far-fetched concept. But what I like about this book, because it really goes into details and it's such a funny book, and it really it's amazing. On that note, oh God, I spoke so much today. I didn't think that was going to be such a long ride, but I think these books are just absolutely beautiful. And because it's a new year, and I really believe in constantly pushing ourselves to be better. And I hope this today's podcast was inspiring for you. If you have any question, leave me a comment down below. I was gonna pull a card at the end, but I think it's too much. Class, leave that for the next time. It's too this is too long already. And keep shining bright like a diamond, my love. I will see you in the next one.